No, for me, the big moment, and it was a pretty big moment of, they tell people to wake up, right? And then now they want to joke and call it woke. I've never heard anyone call it woke. Everyone jumps on that bandwagon, and that's really the small kind of conservative-minded people. I'm not even saying politically, who it took them 10 years to finally start seeing what they call conspiracy theories. Years earlier when we were covering HARP, chemtrails, 9/11, and then I'm sort of apologizing to people who I don't really remember being told that there was other theories about 9/11, but then I saw Tower 7 video, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And that was right when I had it was weird. I had my awakening. I never really followed 9/11, and then I was on the computer, and something just told me, look up 9/11. I don't even think I even knew that there were any other theories. Like, I knew there was some chatter that, like, oh, the government did it, but I didn't think that there was any other kind of evidence. And then I remember seeing Tower 7, and the second I saw that thing fall, I didn't even need anyone to tell me or explain to me that they thought it was a controlled demolition. I knew it was. And I got sick to my stomach. I remember thinking, oh my God, dude, how do they have everyone fooled on this? Like, I was so shocked. I'm like, all the news is in on this? Everyone's in. I didn't know what was going on. And that just started a flood of, like, I wouldn't say that everything, you'd think everything became a conspiracy, as much as you started looking a lot closer at things. Like, if one person so much as mentions that there's something shady going on, everyone thinks other people just make up stories all the time. That never really happens. Like, they may be incorrect in what they saw, or the evidence may not be exactly what they think. But when you have like 10,000 people in one event, like the fires in California, etc., etc., these aren't like things, oh, they got started on the internet. The rumors got started on the internet. No, they didn't, dude. From like Rhode Island to California, all at one moment, millions of people were all saying, hey, there's something very suspect about this. And even back when HARP was going on, it's like, how did they find out about HARP and the HARP rings? And there was Dutchsinse, and he was going into it, and I remember watching him before he had any viewers. And he totally predicted that Tuscaloosa, tornado, 300 people died. So now it's like, wow, this guy called to the city block corner. He measured it out, and there were tons of videos where it shows where he says this in 3 days, you're going to have a major, major catastrophe right here in this area. I mean, to be able to do that, and yeah, you tell people that, and they're just like, yeah, no, I don't know, whatever, yeah, conspiracy theory. I'm like, dude, all you need to, I'm telling you, I saw the guy live on Tuesday say this is where something was going to happen, and on Friday, 300 people are dead. Like, that's pretty big time forecasting. And he got blasted, dude. And when I saw what happened to him, like, all of a sudden, all these things popped up on the internet about the guy being, like, a molester, tax evasion. Nothing like that that had existed before. He went from, like, 48 subscribers to 48,000 in a day. And that was the common element in time. Where, what's your name? Nine Narnia? Totally predicted the quake in Japan. And so it was a hot time, man. Like, I was part of that class. Like, it was a hot time. Like, I was watching these people when, like, out of the whole entire YouTube was YouTube. It wasn't their tube, where they put all their narrative at the top of the newsfeed. You typed in, HARP, and you got Dutchsinse right away, and maybe a couple of documentaries on it, and it was still a conspiracy theory. Now, as you know, it's not a conspiracy theory. It turns out everything they were saying was right, but you never get any apology letters, right? Well, I got out of touch with Dutchsinse, and all these things were going on, and my mom was sick, and, my mom passed away on September 23rd of 2017, and it was in early October when the Santa Rosa fire happened. And it's crazy because I had marked on my calendar, I was getting pretty good at it. Like, there's numerical codes here, and there's, weird coincidences with anniversaries. It's a weird coincidence that today's the anniversary of this plane crash. I'm like, that's always when another plane crash happens. So my ears are always up to the air. But when the Santa Rosa fire happened, I did not know immediately. I knew the fire had happened because we had smoke all the way down to Monterey. But when I started seeing the videos, like I said on my other video, I thought it was a deep fake. I thought, this is fake. This isn't real. And it took me like a day to realize, no, this is actual news footage people taped. and you could see the anomalies, and I'm like, whoa, you're seeing metaphysical supernatural events, but you just don't see them, like you're kind of blind to them. Now my eyes are open, and I'm like, holy shit. How did they let this go on TV? And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I was freaked out. I thought I was awake. Now I'm really awake. And that's one of the inside jokes, is you think you're awake until you see it. And then when you see it, you realize, holy shit, I wasn't even close to being awake. It's 10 times crazier than I thought. But I thought we were all kind of in the same kind of graduating class. There was part of people that weren't. They didn't wake up until like the Donald Trump era, which was weird. But they woke up to they woke up to the New Testament. And I don't know what that's all about. But I was in 2010, and a lot of these people were 2010 people. And I'm going around talking to people. And it seemed like most people had heard of or knew about what I was talking about, but they didn't really look into it. Then they find out about it, and they jump on the bandwagon like they discovered it. But I was sure someone like Dutchsinse knew about the fires thing. Because, like, it was only a certain group of us, and everyone was clowning them because you think it's the military using weapons and this and that. That's all, dude, that's the only description you can come up with. Like, that's what we're trying to tell you. Do you want to see something that's supposedly a natural brush fire? I mean, I'm in California. You're in Florida. I'm not telling you what a hurricane is supposed to be like. If you tell me that a hurricane comes in with, flying frogs and, you know what I'm saying? Like, at 300 miles an hour, I'm going to at least investigate it. But for some reason, there's this wall that comes up in people's minds, a cognitive dissonance that doesn't make them look into it. And the same thing happens when, California, they need to clean their brush. I'm like, no, you don't get it. This fire is moving at a football field a second. Just go to this video, go to that video. And they wouldn't look into it. I'm just like, this is much more of a spiritual thing. But I was sure that we were at the top of our game. We were talking about fake news before Trump even ran for president. So it's just kind of funny to see these people not listen to us. It's like Snowden was not the first person to say, hey, this 9/11 event's creating the Patriot Act, which is going to cause them to really come into our home privacy. Like, it's news to you now when Snowden comes out, and I was like, oh, wow. And then they go chase Snowden down, and you're backing him up. I'm like, dude, this guy just told you your country is after you, is tapping your phones, is watching you, lying to you about it. And by coincidence, they said it was because of terrorists, which we're now finding out, I don't think terrorists did this. It's like, you're not putting two and two together, bro. Like, people just are kind of like behind the times, but when they find out the truth, they don't correct themselves. Well, I thought Dutchsinse knew. Dutchsinse is the name of the guy who just basically is infamous online for now predicting quakes, but he was able to predict HARP and where these tornadoes and these severe storms were going to happen. And then I saw a thing in 2019 where he was doing one of his things, and he's looking like, NOAA's satellite images of, there's a lot of this oil drilling and fracking and stuff going on at a lot of places where he was seeing earthquakes, and he was just getting into predicting them, and he's been pretty accurate. They're now teaching some of his methods. So he basically looks at everything for everybody from a computer screen and a satellite, and goes down and Googles Earth, down to see where these, drilling points are. And, there's a 2.5 here and a 5.3 here. And sometimes they're all in a certain row. And he was finally able to kind of line them up and see, wait, in 2 days there's going to be a 5.0 in this area. And his accuracy rate is really, really high. But at the time, I'm not realizing, he doesn't know yet that added on to chemtrails and HARP and 9/11 and did we land on the moon is... the earth has declared war. Where God has declared war on us, there's fires occurring that, it's not even, as they found out, why are the trees not burning? Because it's not the brush fire that's starting the houses on fire. I mean, we have the toughest fire codes in the country. These fires are starting inside the house. That's why the trees aren't burned. These fires are starting inside the cars. That's why there's nothing around the cars, but the cars melted. And yet all the bushes around it are okay. Something weird is going on. Some kind of microwave weaponry. Some sort of divine. It can't be just the military. Because you've even got the winds involved. And like I said, the anniversary of religious events and dates. But I thought Dutch knew about this. Like, who didn't know? Like, I knew people who were never conspiracy theorists. They didn't want to talk about it because they were scared. But they knew about the fire incidents. Well, so... this other guy I know who was actually one of the first ones to really show some of the best videos of some of the really scandalous, suspicious, and supernatural events happening in these fires and point them out, he made a little collage video, and part of it has Dutchsinse on it. And the funniest thing is, it's not in California. I mean, it was 2 years after Santa Rosa. He's looking at, like, fires are breaking out all over the West Coast. And he's sort of covering this along with his earthquake studying. And then he starts to notice from the satellite imagery that's, like, kind of live, it's in real time, the rate of spread and the amounts of fires that are breaking out at one time, which was already happening in California for years earlier. But he didn't know that yet. And so we're talking about a guy who's, like, infamous for discovering that the government juices up the atmosphere to create tornadoes. So this guy, you would think, is not a rookie to discovering what all of you will, which is conspiracy theories are just one part of one giant conspiracy. They're true, because everything that you've ever seen on the news since you were born, from Watergate to Iran-Contra, it's always been a conspiracy, and it's always worse than you think. But I thought Dutchsinse knew. And so he actually has a scene where Dutchsinse is doing his earthquake reports, and he punches up the satellite picture, and he's looking at these fires, and then what happens to him is what's going to happen to you if you haven't woken up. And it happened to me when I woke up, when I saw Tower 7, is you go into sort of a fit. You kind of freak out. And it's not funny, but it's funny. Because he, of all people, he knows this stuff exists. He knows that we're being lied to on, like, a weird level, like aliens control the planet and humans are just props in Washington to make us think there's a government. It's like, you start realizing, holy shit, I think that's true. But he didn't know anything about the fires yet. And so I just came across the tape of, I had to tape it. Because I'm like, dude, this is Dutch. And he just found out, but his reaction is it's not worth 1,000 words, it's worth $1,000. And, he's at the top of his game. Like he has 50,000 subscribers around the world. So this is like a major sports announcer is like, he just saw someone, like the California, Berkeley, Stanford football game. He just is seeing something for the first time that a lot of us know about, have been dealing with it or trying to deal with it, and we don't know what the hell is going on. Like, the world could end tomorrow, whatever. We've been dealing with this and chewing on it for years. And he just finds out when he accidentally punches up the wrong satellite imagery. It's hilarious.
Central coast up through the North Bay after last night's lightning and thunderstorms.
Wow.
It was something, yeah.
It was something.
That was something. Okay, so here's the audio I have of Dutchsinse finally discovering what I've discovered about what's really going on with these brush fires. Like in Canada, they got busted. Remember that? The weather guy who all these forest fires broke out at the same time. They're like, oh no, it was lightning.
And then there's earthquakes there.
Or whatever. But watch this reaction. You think you know it all until you see it, and then you realize you didn't know shit.
How about the earthquakes in central Oregon? Here. Well, how about a bunch of fires across Oregon? Let's go show you. A bunch of fires broke out yesterday across, or did I say Oregon? Idaho. Across Idaho. So we have a fire going up in Yellowstone National Park. Up here, you probably won't be able to see it on the screen, and you probably won't be able to see the fires as they stand right now. Let me turn on our shortwave so you can see them a little bit better. The black splotches are the spots where the fires are. Here's last night. You see last night? And then, or yesterday afternoon. Then boom, boom, boom. You'll see several fires start to appear. One there. Let me get a greater view in Idaho. And we have 200. There we go. So here, here, and here. As well as here, 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 and there. And there, all burning suddenly on a clear series of days going into the park itself, into Yellowstone Park. Now look up here in Washington. Hold on. I checked Washington last night, there were no fires. What the hell is this? What the hell is that? What? 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 What the hell is going on? This is current. This is a clear day. Look, watch. Watch. This is a clear day. Look. Look at it all. Look at it all, guys. Look at all the fires. We got an emergency going on here. Hold on. Let's get a natural color. This is this morning. This is this morning.
You need the Valium, bro.
Look at how many fires there are, for crying out loud. I've never seen anything like it, guys. I've never seen anything like it. And I haven't even touched on Colorado yet. Look at Colorado.
We thought you knew, homie. We thought you knew.
Major fires in Colorado. I have never seen anything like this before.